Oh, hello, goddess, and welcome to this week's Super Signs Sunday. A brand new week. Ooh, a brand new place to be, huh? It's been quite a week this last week, I know, for me, in my world. For those who may be new to my channel, my name is Rochelle Richard, and I am the founder, CEO, and self-love empowerment coach here at Empowerment Experiences, which really began as primarily focused on, well, self-love empowerment. And as if that's not a many-layered and multifaceted experience in itself, then you add to it the twin flame journey, a whole another level. And I wanted to say layer, but it's again many layered and multifaceted, as is the self-love empowerment journey. Yet I can assure you, dear goddess, that as you find yourself on a twin flame journey, that really truly it is a self-love empowerment journey on steroids. I remember wondering why, and I'm gonna pull out my chair here and start to sit down. I've been standing here, talking to you as I'm led here. But I remember asking the universe, why? Why? Why now? Why twin flame? I mean, of course, I get the story of being able to say that I didn't believe in them when I met mine. I didn't believe in the concept. However, that's the proof of what allowing for the expansion of your consciousness can do for you. It's the thing that allows you to, well, expand in understanding, to be able to make sense of things that have happened and are happening in you and in your journey and with this individual. And I am a very transparent individual in that I really like to make sure to let you know when things are happening in my world, in my journey. And there's definitely been some interesting things happening. Signs, synchronicities, messages in the energetic space of all of this. From a song that I hadn't heard since on the beach with him in Goa, that I thought was a song from India, and turns out, no, it's not. Not at all. Of course not. Of course not. And that just led just on down the line to quite a mind-blowing end to a full moon week, a wild week that it has been. It is, needless to say, I'm still in a state of blissful shock, if that is such a thing, of just that space of, oh my goodness, I know for certain. He didn't have to tell me that it was him. Anyway, as you can see, I had to kind of pause and edit a little bit. Whew. It's definitely created a bit of a... There isn't even a word that's coming to mind to explain. So with that, I am very excited to just dive into the cards. Let's see what we can come to understand a bit more through way of a bit more clarity on things that may be unfolding in each of our journeys. Trust, goddess, I tell you this with absolute certainty. Trust that where you are is where you're supposed to be. Trust that he is processing in his own way, whatever that may look like for him. It's no different than your journey being uniquely yours from other twin flame goddesses, such as myself. That's why it's always so important that you take what resonates with you and your journey and your inner compass, your inner knowing, what truly feels aligned for you. Take what you need and leave the rest. That's why, as a coach, I am here to support you in your knowing what is best for you on your twin flame journey. With that, again, like I say, there's this undercurrent of, there's an undercurrent, and it's picking up in energy. There's things happening beneath the surface, goddess. And again, just because we can't see them doesn't mean we aren't going to be able to feel them. And I know for me, and my counterpart, I have been feeling him all these months as we've been in separation after, as he's had to really step into the generational curses of his family and that weight being on his shoulders, as it has been for me and mine. The one that says, everything about this whole dynamic goes against everything in me. It's literally like a virus in yourself where you just don't fit. Something else is calling you, and it does not match what it's been. Something that feels so much better and more aligned with you. And that's what we as twin flames, as light workers, are called here to do, is to shine our lights, to step into each our own unique lights and empower that in others by simply being that in ourselves. And I know very much for me that I have been not nearly as eager and overzealous as I usually am about my mission and my purpose. It has been, quite honestly, exhausting with what he has been clearing, and I undoubtedly the same. However, this full moon has brought with it one of the greatest sensation of clearings, meaning the where you can feel that things are clearing away. Even the times when you just want to curl up and cry. That shows you. That's the clearing. That's the releasing. That's the letting go. Let yourself. And then pick yourself up when you're done. If you need to take a nap, and then wake up and be conscious. Be mindful, be aware, be very, very aware of where you focus your thoughts, your attention, your energy. It was a challenge this morning, knowing when all of those pieces came back this morning, when I woke up going, oh my, oh, that happened. And then that happened, and then what do I do? How do I respond? What's the right thing to, I go through it too, goddess. I go through it too with my counterpart. I feel really, truly, where I am is I've been doing it long enough for sure to have a process in place within myself naturally that I don't react. I mean, there is an energetic response within me, of course, where with absolute certainty, all he has ever needed to say is one word to me for me to know that it was him. And I open that one word message, and it is his energetic fingerprints all over the place. And this is what I say, goddesses, you will feel your counterpart. You will feel something that only you can know, because only you feel it. This is why it's so important for you to trust in your knowing. I know how easy it can be to get caught up in listening to all sorts of readings like this. I mean, and yet here I am doing one. That's why I only do 3 a week. You know, I have for certain times I don't fully immerse myself. I allow for signs and messages to come to me. And perhaps, yes, this most certainly is one such occasion. 1 of 3 every week. So be gentle. Be gentle with yourself, goddess. As each new moment brings a new opportunity for a new experience, the ego wants to refer to the old. And that's how we tend to repeat the old. One of the greatest ways of loving ourselves is to let go of the old, to allow for the new to come in. That's how we truly cultivate trust and faith, as we let go of the need to make anything like it was, and to allow for something new to blossom, to expand in its place. And for so many twin flames, I feel this is definitely something that it's going to be. It has to be. Thus why my video released the 3D perception of your twin flame, because if you're telling a story of how he is and how he's been, then he could never become who he truly is. He'll always stay who he's always thought he was, especially in your mind. And the same with you. The same about you. So when we say things, oh, that's just how I am, I've always been that way. If it is a way, a habit, a thought pattern, something that contradicts what you desire to feel, what you desire to experience, just go easy on yourself about it and stop doing it. You don't have to beat yourself up for all the times that you've done it and for actually having done it. That just feeds the same problem. And I know this place, goddess. I've done it far more times than I could count. That just tells you that I'm real. And I'm super excited to be sharing more and more with you as, again, getting on the other side of this, all of these crazy portals that we've been having. You know, for me, it really started with that 11/11, and then 12/12, something happened, and then something happened on 1/11, and the 222 portal was just this. There's just been so much, and then this full moon for me is again bringing that. Must have been Pie Day. I still have a piece of pie I've got to eat. Where did this come from? Well, looky there. Hold on, pain ends, goddess. That's what hope means to me. It's an acronym. Hold on, pain ends. Now here's the tricky part about hope, though, especially when it comes to the ego space and how not stable the ego tends to be. And thus why compassion is so necessary for yourself. Is that hope, when you have nothing else, A sliver of hope is everything. And that's when I say yes. I say yes to hope. Hold on to all the hope that you can get a grip of, because that's all you've got in that moment. I know what those places are like, Goddess. But then you reach a point in your journey, your self-love empowerment journey, and you don't need hope. You've been working so hard on beliefs, on the things that require you to have to find hope in an experience, is because of what you've been believing. And so you work on those beliefs. You look at the things that contradict what you desire, and you reframe those. You look at the things that have traumatized you and wounded you and created beliefs about certain aspects of your experience, and especially about yourself, that you rewrite. And before you know it, that knowing is where you reside. You trust in your knowing. You reach a point where it does not matter what anybody else has to say to you. You know what is true for you. You know, yes, that is your twin flame. You know, yes, one day you will be together. You know, yes, right now that you know that y'all need to be on the other side of the world from each other. And that's definitely where I have been. Yet now it's that place where it's like, oh, he stirs. And all these spaces that I've been healing, this next level, next layers, greater facets from where I am now and where we are now, individually, together in my connection, and collectively as a whole of humanity. It's time to shift from this hope into knowing. And really, truly, Goddess, the greatest thing that ever undermines your own knowing is your own doubt. There was a part of this video when I paused that just now I'm looking back, and there was a moment where all of a sudden I felt discombobulated and tripped up, and again this undercurrent that I mentioned either in the recorded part that I've kept at this point or the part that I've edited, but this undercurrent that is, right, your twin flame energy of your counterpart in your life. There is this, right? And it touches every part of your life, your journey. It's just the word, the translation, I see it in my mind. It's not like it's expanding. Maybe it's the energy, the light within it. There's life, there's teaming. It's starting to team with life. So I am definitely that person to assure you, Goddess, that where you are in your journey, if hope is all you've got, then hold tight. While at the same time you are working on you and what you're believing in, what you're focusing on, the stories you're telling, what you're feeding, so that you are getting out of your own way, releasing the doubt, and anchoring into your knowing. Such as, again, for myself to know that I know this message. There's a story. There's a but it's a simple little message with his energetic fingerprints all over it, like a flood of energy. And when you allow yourself to feel the knowing within you. Of that which you know. And Goddess, that's really truly being your own true number one partner in this, because you've got to be willing to take that breath when things happen in this connection. You've got to be willing to recenter after that initial, oh my goodness, this just happened kind of moment, right? And whatever emotions and sensations that experience conjures within you in that moment, of course you're going to have a reaction. There's always an initial response that we have to something when it first comes into our experience, right? We've got to be our own partner in this, like a business partner. Like, okay, wait a minute, don't make any rash, no sudden moves, no sudden business decisions. Don't just sign over $1 billion just because. I mean, we don't know who we're dealing with here. Just take a pause. You know, all of a sudden it's like, oh, check the ego, right? Because your ego is supposed to be your partner here. It's not your enemy. I mean, yes, of course, I love to reference the mean girl because that's what she becomes. But guess what? The mean girl got friends. And those are the ones that have been able to get through her rough exterior just to figure out that she just wanted love. That's all she wanted. So this time around, as counterparts begin to come back, in whatever way they come back. And this is when again, this is once you've reached that point in your twin flame journey where you've been separated, you've not had those reach out moments where you've really healed so much, especially of that inner child healing. And I've watched this in others, of course, where certain tools that we utilize in my coaching for the inner child healing process. It is part of this twin flame journey. You've got to facilitate that inner child healing. And I work one-on-one with clients for this, in this twin flame realm, arena, energy, space. Because you see, in order to really have that union, remember, with your twin, you have to come home to union within, which means you must befriend and bring balance in yourself between your higher self and your lower self. You and your ego must learn how to cooperate. And so again, you'll reach this point in your journey, Goddess, where you won't make rash moves. And then when, for instance, again, when you even miss the text or the call, you don't make rash decisions. You actually check in with yourself. You are conscious. You allow for that, again, those initial energies to, you are gentle with yourself. You don't add undue pressure to make it, oh my God, oh my gosh, I can't believe I missed the message. Oh my gosh, I gotta do this. No. You have been working so hard on loving yourself, Goddess. You have been cultivating this practice of compassion with yourself. That of course, that will be tested. And as of late, we've been really having things like, respecting our own boundaries being amplified, right? For feminines, right? It is the rise of the feminine, is the feminine honoring her worth. And remember, I am that woman that will sit here and say, I am not talking feminist or feminism. That is victim-rooted mentality thinking. I am talking feminine, wherein the woman doesn't need to She doesn't do anything. She just owns her worth, and she doesn't need someone or something or some system or anything outside of her to validate that worth. That's what divine feminine is. Feminism is external validation. Divine feminine is internal. Is then knowing that we are on this journey of cultivating that knowing, that coming back into union with yourself. Being able to have the courage to do that, no matter what it takes. To not give a flying fuck what anybody else thinks or says about you and what you're doing and how you're doing it. Well, looky there, bottom card. Because you're recognizing it is time to flow, sister. It is time to, again, continue practicing getting out of your own way. Continue practicing allowing for things to be moved out of your own way. Even I can recognize right now I'm feeling the residual of the headache that I was having this morning a bit, overthinking, right? Because again, goddess, I do it too. My counterpart, like I said, this just happened yesterday and I'm still sitting on it. I'm still processing it. But that's my point, is that I have a process now. I don't just react externally. I allow for the internal reaction that definitely takes place always, but I allow for that to be my response. I don't react externally, especially with my twin flame. I'm here to tell you right now, goddess, there are so many lessons in that. So many things are connected to healing that part of being reactive. When our twin flame reaches out or does something and just, yes, of course you feel that, but you gotta let it still flow. You gotta go with the flow. Especially your flow, goddess, what's in you, what feels aligned for you. And all I know is right now, what's aligned for me is to focus on me. Because I've already been overthinking, and for those who may not know, overthinking is the result, is the thing that causes headaches often, frequently. If you tend to think a lot about things, especially the same things, and you find that you have a lot of headaches, well, I know easier said than done. However, stop thinking about those things. I'm in this moment, I'm remembering I have it's a Mod Podge, just a board of little memes and Mod Podge comics that I've put on with some scrap paper, some decorative scrap paper, and I Mod Podged over it, and it's actually put up beside my toilet there in my bathroom, so your bathroom's usually your most frequented room, right? So I go in there and I can see it all the time, and there's a comic on there, and I think it might be Mutts. I just remember the comic very well, and it's all about thinking, and at the very end, after this guy is all like, oh, I just keep thinking about this problem, and that's going wrong, and oh my gosh, I just don't know what I'm gonna do, and his buddy pal, old friend, just looks at him in bewilderment and amazement and says, stop thinking. That solves it all. And so how do we do this, goddess? How do we stop thinking? Well, for one, we start having that compassion for ourselves. We start letting it be okay to not figuring out every fucking thing that's wrong in your life, in other people's lives, in the world. All right? If you weren't afraid, what would you do? And what would you do for you? What would you do to put yourself in a space and place more of compassion, more of truly loving yourself? What would you do if you weren't afraid? What changes would you make for yourself in your life? I challenge you to comment that below, to put it out there. What would you change in your life, Goddess, if you weren't afraid of what impact or it may have on others, or what others would say? And by impact on others, I mean, for instance, when, two people stay together even though they're miserable, but they claim they're staying together for the children, right? For the idea, but it's the energy is all off, right? So what would you do for you in your life, Goddess, if you were not afraid, if you were not afraid of being judged, being criticized, having someone be angry with you because you believe something different? I'm telling you right now, that's been one of my challenges after almost 2 years ago, and the censorship I experienced as someone who grew up with freedom of speech and freedom of the press. I wanted to be the next Diane Sawyer and to be silenced, to have my voice silenced just because it went against the mainstream narrative was very deeply rooted for me. And so I know it wasn't just this life of freedom of speech and freedom of human expression that I was healing, because it really, really did. And it's been a healing of that, of the pulling and inward and closing off and going, oh no. So in your life, Goddess, what feels aligned? What would you do if you weren't afraid for you, even if it is starting a podcast just because you just want to sit and talk and share your story with the world? Do that. Or maybe it's to leave that job once and for all. I mean, after these last 2 years of having so much life denied for so many because of a lie, life will pass you by, and everybody is gonna die. It's up to each and every single soul to follow the call of her heart-filled goal. Everyone, everything that calls to you, Goddess. No matter what changes, big or small, no matter what steps, big or small, or how many you take, you know where you're being called to go. You just need to listen to that inner voice that's telling you what lights you up. So, if you weren't afraid, what would you do, Goddess? What would light you up? Follow that. With that, as we have so much more today, with all the wild, intense energies, so many things have been unfolding and happening. Wild signs and synchronicities that look, I'm barely shuffling, and the divine masculine is already mirroring the courage, Goddess. The same courage right here. Courage. He's finding his courage to take back his power from that which is his karma. Those lessons which he has chosen to learn and that which he has chosen to heal in this world, in this life. So, trust that yes, the divine masculine is so grateful for the feminine. So grateful for leading the way in this self-love empowerment journey. Because remember, as I have said for so long now, that each counterpart must be their own pillars of strength. And together we uplift humanity. And if one pillar is weakened, the entire thing may crumble. And that is why this time of separation has been so important for counterparts. And this is why too, I sit here and I admit, Goddess, even this feminine, which is all part of it, the twin flame doubt, it's so part of it. And then you want to push it away. There are so many twin flame goddesses that, and I've not, it's not that I've not been there before in the beginning, but you reach a point of I just don't even want to do this anymore. And as someone like me, it was very challenging to be, there's no way I could erase him. My ego wanted so desperately to erase him. Yet, we cannot. It is futile. The ego will always lose that because the soul, the heart, knows the truth. It is the ego that is suffering. It is the ego that is in pain. The soul is love. That is it. Love. So I assure you, Goddess, the divine masculine is truly grateful for his divine feminine leading the way in this power reclamation journey, in finding the courage to reclaim power. Be grateful as well, Goddess. Be grateful for how far you've come. Be grateful that you have reached such a point in your journey that even when you're stepping into new spaces and places within yourself of healing that feels so foreign, and the fears get all triggered again, and you feel like you're free falling, and you feel like, oh my God, you don't know, something's wrong. Trust. Find your brave to just throw your hands up in the air as you free fall and you cry out to the universe, I trust, I surrender, I say yes. I trust, I surrender, I say yes. Because this is that transformation, just as a coal is transformed into a diamond. So is the same for each and every one of us in this expansion journey. We must break out of the shell that encases our limited perspective. We must break out of that which was once our refuge. So trust that while the divine masculine may be stirring, maybe, trust that this time of refuge that he is in will one day end. It is temporary. Everything that is this experience here, Goddess, is temporary. Thus why we go back to this gratitude. Really learning to be grateful for every bit of this journey. No matter what it feels like, where you are, I know, easier said than done when you're in it. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm always saying I'm so grateful I'm going through this painful spot. 33. Or that I'm so grateful that I'm feeling so much pain and I just want it to end. 31. I say a lot of different things. I say, yeah. And this is why I can sit here for you. I just picked up my phone and 114. Well, looky there. So, shall we go numerical order? 31. A different way of doing things. Learn to both give and receive. And I know, Goddess, I can see this. I see this in myself, in my experience. I see this in clients that I have. I see this in so many around me. Humanity as a whole. How we resist allowing ourselves to receive. When someone says something nice to or about us, to and about us, how we go, oh, yeah, I'm surprised because I've just always been, and the next thing we do is we speak ill of ourselves. So we cancel out that energetic gift that was just given from that person by speaking against ourselves. That's what compassion is. You've got to be willing to receive that kindness, that gentleness. Have confidence in your abilities and a positive outlook on things. Very much again, anchoring into your knowing. You're divinely guided and protected. Follow your divine path. 33. Growing pains. Ascended masters. Be aware of the evil forces that seek to dim your light. Deeper harmony and peace in body, mind, and spirit, right? Because you have been clearing out this toxicity. Therefore, you are no longer such a point of attraction for more of it. You're getting better and better at being aware of the lower vibrations or evil forces, we shall say, out there in the world, in the realm, in the universe. That rather, because we've been anchoring into this deeper knowing, we've been cultivating that compassion, and you're reaching this place again, Goddess, where you've come back again stronger and wiser and a deeper understanding for where you are, who you are, what your strengths are, that you can trust your knowing. So now it is, again, that time for you to get aligned with making these changes, being willing to step into that uncomfortable place, because it's also exciting as fuck. It feels great. It lights you up. And 114, which live life on the wild side. Be bold. Dream big dreams, growth and expansion, happiness and joy. Live your amazing life. Yeah. That's where we are, Goddess. There's been so much of this ego death happening, so many layers. This is why, again, this self-love empowerment journey is many layered and multifaceted, because it's just this web of all of this life experiences, all of your past life experiences, ancestral. There's, again, so many layers. And that's why the need to love yourself first and foremost is what is first and foremost. Because that is the very thing that is going to allow for things to be more easeful or not so easeful in your life. That when the undercurrent of your counterpart starts to stir with life beneath you and you're going, wait a minute, what's going on here? Here we go. Something's happening. That you can still maintain that the waters that are it's your pond, shall we say, they're still calm on the surface. That you've got this. You have power over you, Goddess, because of all of this work that you've done, because you know what it's like to be barely hanging on by a thread. But that's why when we do end up back in this place, why we keep coming back around is to cultivate these deeper and deeper and deeper layers and practices of compassion, of courage, of that knowing within ourselves. With that, Goddess, I am here to support you in anchoring into that knowing and clarifying that knowing for yourself. My sessions are not just cards. I don't say just cards, but those are not the only tools that we utilize. If you have physical ailments that you're curious to have a deeper understanding and thus expanded from a coach's perspective, I'm definitely here for you. You're ready to look for and find your power no matter where you are on your journey. I'm here for you. That's what I do. That's what I love. And I have countless tools and resources with which to do that. The greatest of them all being, of course, my own knowing and intuition. Because, Goddess, I wouldn't be where I am without it. That's for sure. I am here for you. Be sure to book your session at iamempowered.as.me. That link will be down below, along with others to support you in this twin flame self-love empowerment journey. And I look forward to hanging out with you later this week for Twin Flame Tuesday. And, of course, Thankful to Thrive Thursday. I will see you then, dear Goddess. And I remind you that the power to anchor into your knowing, the power to find your brave, to really be further expanding into this courage of further expanding into you and expressing that. The power, it's in your hands. Because that power has always been in you. Namaste.